Oh my heavens. Am I really indirect? Okay, I've never done a live video before, and I have a horrible cold today. And I wanted to do a video talking about all of the reads, just kind of an overall wrap up of 2024. And I am not up to making an actual video, so I thought I'd try a live stream. Um, I am assuming this gets recorded. I've seen people's live streams get put on their channels after, but if not, I'm talking to no one for no reason. Um, so, my name is Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. And um, let's start out with the books. Usually, I am great at editing out all of my weird pauses and stumbles, but not today. So, let's see how this goes. So, to start out with, I wanted to pull up my Goodreads. I wanted to go over how many books I've read in 2024. And so, according to Goodreads, I usually use Goodreads just to mark off which books I've read, but not actually really do reviews or anything. It's just a list. But if I look at my last year, I read 175 books. And my goal is always 100. I just put it at 100, and I don't care if I get less or more. It's more just to have a number on there, and I like seeing the little bar on Goodreads fill up. So my shortest book was Address Unknown, and my longest book was King a Life. And both of those were really good books. Those were both 5-star books, but average length in book is 355 pages. So that is about where I've ended up. And I wanted to go through and talk about each of the books in a quick, hot or not kind of way, um, just to go through some of these because some of them I didn't even remember that I'd read them this year. I thought that I had read them in, a couple years ago, and it's so surprising all the books that I've actually read this year. So, the first book that I read in 2024 or finished in 2024 was Chain All Stars by Ajay Brenya Nanakwame. And this was awesome. Um, it was a really good book, kind of bloody. It's like everybody gets thrown into an arena and has to fight each other to the death. And it was good. I thought it had a lot of great things. I know a lot of people ended up putting it on their very best books ever, and it was more of a 4 out of 5 stars for me, but I really enjoyed it. The next book that I read after that was The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and I read that whole series, or is it a trilogy? It was really good. I I didn't read it. I listened to it on audio, and I thought it was so crazy because it had so many different like sound effects. That was super fun because it was like listening to a comic book, and I had a great time with all of those, and all the New York neighborhoods had personalities. So that was super fun. I read As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by uh, Zolfa Katoa, and I also really loved that one. I had a great time with that book. It was really well done. Yeah, I don't know if I remember it as well as I would like, which is always a bummer with books like that. All right, let's see what we've got. Okay. I read All My Rage by Saba Tahir, and I don't remember this at all. What was this? Oh, an arranged marriage, something. I don't know. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but do I remember it really? No. So then the next book was another one in those great cities, The World We Make, which I really liked. Oh my heavens. The Song of the Cell, An Exploration of Medicine and the New Human by Siddhartha Mukherjee. And that is such a good science book. Everyone should read it. I talked about it in my best of video, but oh, that one was awesome. Ugh, this cold is killing me today. Let's see. I read Wade in the Water by Nyani Nkrumah. I'm butchering saying that name. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Wade in the Water. I don't remember anything about this. Yeah, I don't remember. It gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It must have been good at the time, but oof, I don't remember it. We've got Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, and I used to be such a big Brandon Sanderson fan, and honestly, this didn't really work for me. I am kind of disappointed, and I think it was just aimed at younger readers, but I just found the stakes to be so low because everything that the character tried out worked on the first shot, and I just I wasn't too sold on it. All right, we got The German Girl by uh, Armando Lucas Correa, and a young girl flees Nazi-occupied Germany with her family and best friend. Oh, yeah, I sort of remember this one. I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars, but I don't remember it super well. It's so hard. If I read 175 books in the year, at a certain point, I don't feel like I remember all of them, which is why I have this channel. It's to make me do book reports, so I remember them, and I still don't remember The German Girl super well, but I remember liking it. Oh, this one was interesting. It was Mother Brain: How Neuroscience is Rewriting the Story of Parenthood by Chelsea Conaboy. And I remember thinking it was really interesting, but also had some moments of maybe inspiring mommy guilt, which I never want. You don't need to tell me that every decision I make is going to affect my kid forever because I know, and it's hard enough to handle. So that's fun. Oh, okay. I got Orchid Muse: A History of Obsession in 15 Flowers, and this by Erica Hanikel. And this book was, I don't know, kind of boring. Not really for me. I just don't think I was that into orchids, but it was also interesting. Like I remember it pretty well. So, I mean, it gets extra points for being memorable after a year after reading it. Um, see, The Connollys of County Down by Tracy Lane. Lane? Oh, so that book, I really liked that. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Maybe it should have been higher. I remember really not being able to put that one down. That was good. Oh, The Haunting of Maddie Clare by Simone St. James. That one, let's see. I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know. I think I just didn't quite feel like I was as on board with it as I should have been. I don't remember it. I just don't remember it. I just don't think it was as scary as I would have liked it to be. Aslan says, "Hello. Hello, Aslan. Nice to see somebody's watching this." All right, let's see. What else have we got? Cackle by Rachel Harrison. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars because I think it was poorly done. But did I have the most fun reading this book? Yes, I had a great time with Cackle. Let's see, Tara M. Stringfellow, Memphis. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, but do I remember it? Tracing 3 generations of a Southern Black family and one daughter's discovery. I don't remember it super well. I liked it at the time, but it hasn't stuck with me for a long time. Ooh, but Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs and Other Questions About Dead Bodies by Caitlin Doughty is, I gave it also 4 out of 5 stars, and ooh, that has stuck with me for a long time. Super interesting. I had such a good time going through those questions, and I really have enjoyed some of those books that make you think about death and confront your own mortality a little bit, because I think it's something that facing head on is, kind of healthy to do. So that's fun. Let's see. Yiyun Lee wrote The Book of Goose. I gave that 4 out of 5 stars, and honestly, I do remember it pretty well. It was kind of unique, just the way it like talked about female friendship, and we had like Fabienne, her child was. That's what I would normally edit out. Fabienne is dead. Her childhood best friend Agnes receives the news. It was It was an interesting book, different than what I thought going into it, so I ended up liking that one. Ooh, but I did not like Chlorine by Jade Song. I've heard lots of people who really liked that one, and it was supposed to be like it says, blurs the line between a literary coming of age narrative and a dark, unsettling horror tale. And I just never got why. It just never really worked for me. So, eh, that was not my favorite at all. Ooh, but for one that did make my favorites list, we have Address Unknown by Catherine Cressman Taylor. And everybody should read this if you watch my video on my best fiction books of the year. This one makes it, and it's so short. So just go read it. Go read it right now. Just go pick it up. It was so good. Ooh, The Lincoln Highway by Amor Tolls. That was like 4 out of 5 stars for me. I am actually just about done with Rules of Civility by the same author right now. And I liked The Lincoln Highway. It had a bit of that, like, I don't know, Huckleberry Finn kind of thing and epic journey people are going on, and I enjoyed it. I think I'm liking Rules of Civility a little more, but we'll see how it ends and if I still feel that way by the end of the book. So we have got A Taste for Poison, 11 Deadly Molecules, and the Killers Who Used Them by Neil Bradbury, and I really liked that. It was super interesting. 5 stars. It is on the list that I have of best nonfiction reads. So is the next book, which is Not My Father's Son by Alan Cumming. And that was such a good memoir. Heavens. For me not knowing anything about Alan Cumming, I was really glad that I picked up that book. Um, let's see. I did have another book that I enjoyed called After the Romanovs, Russian Exiles in Paris from the Belle Epoque Through Revolution and War by Helen Rappaport. And I enjoyed this, but I think my problem with it just was that I didn't know enough about this time period. And so I found some of it to be a little boring. But if I read more about Russian history, maybe it will be more helpful. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. How long can I make it through this video without going through a huge coughing fit? I don't know. We'll see how long I make it. Ooh, Confident Women, Swindlers, Grifters, and Shapeshifters of the Feminine Persuasion by Tori Teffler. And I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, but maybe it should have been 5 out of 5 stars. I had so much fun with that book. Super interesting to just learn about different con women. I think the reason I didn't give it 5 stars is I just wasn't sure if she was kind of glorifying some of it or if we were really saying that it was okay. Like, I just thought the tone might have been a little off. I don't know. Then we have The Lost Spells by Robert McFarlane, and it's poetry. It was fine, but I don't know. I don't know. Hi, Hugo. Thank you for joining this live stream. I have a terrible cold. But I am here anyway because I wanted to just go through all the books I read this last year. So thanks for joining. Let's see, we've got The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This was an interesting, scary book, and it's kind of a classic in the genre, but I just didn't think it ever got really spooky or really paid off. I don't know. Like, I like a good haunted house book, but this maybe wasn't it for me. So, ugh. Oh, Aslan asked how many books did I read? I read 175 in 2024. Hugo wants to know if I've ever read Stephen King. I have. I got an ick with Stephen King. I read The Green Mile, and I didn't like his portrayal of the like black man who kind of just has mystical, magical properties, and he didn't feel like a really real character. I'm like, Stephen King, do you have a black friend? Because this just feels a little off. And so it's put me off from reading other Stephen King, but it's not that I shouldn't read other Stephen King. It was just that that specific one had a couple things that made me go, I don't know. So I've avoided Stephen King, but I should probably give him another try because I think that's the only Stephen King book that I have read. Let's see. Back to the books. Joan by Catherine J. Chen. Excellent retelling of the Joan of Arc story. makes you really feel for her as a person. She's awesome. Um, which led me to go read Joan of Arc by Mark Twain, which was also awesome. I read Mercy Street by Jennifer Haig, and that was pretty good. But I think my problem with that one was it seemed a little sensationalized, but it's fine. I enjoyed it. It was, like about an abortion clinic or something. So it was a little over the top with hot button topics, but that's fine. We have The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. I think I read this to my daughter, and it's delightful. It's adorable. I don't think I liked it as much reading it as an adult as I did as a teenager, but it was still good. Oh, I got to Replay by Ken Grimwood, and this was fine. It really had a type. It's that Groundhog Day type book, which is great. I like the Groundhog Day type book. It can be an interesting plot device, but I just don't know if I loved the character. I found the main character to kind of be a little gross, so I didn't quite connect with the main character, huh, which is fine. But I appreciate it as a bit of the you know, set for the type of book that is, reliving things over and over again. Patsy by Nicole Dennis Ben. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I don't remember anything about this. Leaves her beautiful but impoverished Jamaican town. I read it in March. I don't have any idea anything that happened in that. Oh my goodness. Here's the coughing bit. Just gonna. oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. Oh, stupid cold. All right. Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wawakeshig Rice. And this was really good. Oh my goodness. It was one of those books that had the suspense and the thriller, and it was all coming together. And it would have been a 5 star for me, but it had some of my personal ick. And I couldn't handle it. It made me feel a little too nauseous for a week after reading it, so gave up on it. Hugo, you are coming in with some great questions. This is why I've never done a live. It's because I always trip over my words. Yeah, so Hugo, I have cried over lots of these books, but I probably only cry over a book I don't know, 5 or 6 times in a year, which isn't that many when I've read 175 books. Oh my goodness, Diana, hi! Atlas in a jar. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, I met my goal. I'm just gonna go through all these books that I've read the last year and see what happens. So let's see. We are on to the next page on my Goodreads. So we've got The Old Ways, A Journey on Foot by Robert McFarlane. And it was so boring. Oh my gosh. It was so boring. Why am I have no patience. It's beautiful writing, all the information is interesting, but I have no patience, and I found it to be so boring. Um, it's probably my own personal problem, but I read 2 books by the same author, and both of them were just so boring to me. The Attic Child by Lola J. Excellent book. Really excellent. 2 children trapped in an attic in different time periods, going through things, focusing on, some of those deep scars that were left by colonialism. Great book. Really good. A Woman is No Man by Itaf Room. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was fine. I enjoyed it, but I don't know. I read 2 Itaf Room books. I don't know if it was this year or, going over a couple of years. And it was, I don't know if I like them now that I've read more than one. I think you just read one by Itaf Room, but maybe that's just me. Oh, let's see. Do I read books in Spanish or in Catalan? So I am terrible at reading in Catalan and Spanish. I have some books in Spanish that I try to read. I do try to read a little bit in Spanish every day, but Not a ton. I do read with my daughters in Spanish and Catalan a lot, and I am trying to get a lot of, like, graphic novels to read in Catalan because I feel like it's a really good way to help me improve Catalan. Um, my Spanish reading is okay, my comprehension is fine, it's just frustrating to get the pacing right for me for some reason, and so I do struggle to, read in Spanish or Catalan, but I sometimes we'll do an audiobook in Spanish, which is nice. So, oh, I am so sorry. You're sick too. I hope you get better soon as well. It's just miserable. All right, back into, let's see. Oh, Enola Holmes. I was reading Enola Holmes to my daughter out loud, and these were fine. They were cutesy. Do I want to go back and read more Enola Holmes? No. Did I enjoy the Netflix movies? Yeah, so they were fine. Hungry Heart Adventures in Life, Love, and Writing by Jennifer Weiner, and it was fine. Not something super memorable. I think maybe I would have liked it more had I read some of her actual books before reading her memoir about writing her books. It was probably my fault in when I picked it up. Let's see. A Song for Ella Gray by David Almond. This only got like 3 stars for me because I didn't love it, but it still gets extra points for being a Greek retelling that was told so different. It was very poetic and put into modern days, and I liked that one. It was fun. Let's see. Oh, I went and tried to read a Jennifer Weiner book, Mrs. Everything, and I don't think I really loved that. I don't remember much about it, but I uh, don't think I enjoyed that one very much either. So I gave it 3 stars at the time, which means it was probably a meh book for me. I'm not good with star ratings. It's like 4 stars, decent book, good, you should read it. 5 stars is I love forever. 3 stars is meh, and anything under 3 stars is it's probably awful. That's about how my star ratings end up going. Okay, Faith by Jennifer Haig. Ooh, that one was good. That had a lot of interesting things in it. I only gave it like 4 out of 5 stars, but it is talking about a woman who is her brother is a Catholic priest who is accused of a horrible crime, and she wants to discover the truth. I thought it was really, really interesting, but ooh, heavy topic, right? Okay, we have Happy Hour by Marlo Granados. I don't remember a thing about this book. Um, I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars, which is either a meh or a I hated it. I don't know where it was on there, but I read that book, um, and I should have known better because it says, with the verve and bite of my year of rest and relaxation, I hated my year of rest and relaxation. I don't think anything happened in this book. Yeah, I have no idea. Why did I read it? I am terrible at that. Oh my goodness, I read Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls, Essays, etc. by David Sedaris. And anytime I read a David Sedaris book, I am so happy. His books just are delightful. Oh. And then, of course, I went and read Holidays on Ice by David Sedaris and was also so happy. So thank you, David Sedaris, for always brightening my day. Sometimes I will check out an audiobook of his and just turn it on and listen to a couple of the essays just as a pick me up because he's delightful. Okay, let's see. Where are we? All the Beauty in the World, The Metropolitan Museum of Art and Me by Patrick Bringley. And this was nice. This guy is kind of giving his musings on life after a very difficult situation in his life, and he works at this museum, and it was nice. I enjoyed it. It's like 4 out of 5 stars. The Cost of Free Land, Jews, Lakota, and an American Inheritance by Rebecca Claren, 5 stars. Definitely, you need to go read that book. It's on my best nonfiction, as well as The Forager's Spell, a true story of Vermeer, Nazis, and the greatest art hoax of the 20th century by Edward Dolnick. And if you want a really great story about a con artist. I mean, he just forges Vermeers. How cool is that? I mean, not cool because crime, but cool as in interesting to understand how that is done. So I really liked that one. Hello, Hugo. I am not from the United Kingdom. I am from the United States, but I live in Spain, in Catalonia, which is awesome. It's the best place in the world. So beautiful. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, I read Heartstopper Volume 5. It only takes what, half an hour to get through one of those. It was cute. It was fine. I don't know. I haven't really connected with graphic novels in English, which is why I've been trying to read graphic novels in Catalan because it slows me down and makes me actually sit with it, which I think is more of the intention with a graphic novel. So that's awesome. Oh, got a residuary. I'm sitting on some pillows on the floor. Okay. Let's see. I read Catherine the Great, Portrait of a Woman by Robert K. Massey, and this was really good. I don't know why I only gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but it was really interesting to learn about Catherine the Great. So, yeah, highly recommend that one. It was great. Ooh, I didn't realize that was this year. I read All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby, and ooh, triggering subjects, but so well done. S.A. Cosby writes some really good books that are really, what's the word? I don't know. My brain's not working. He's just really good at writing those mysteries or writing those really intense kind of stories. And I have a hard time putting them down. Are they a little like too intense and too bloody in some parts? Yeah, but like he's so good at it. I can't read a lot of S.A. Cosby, but on occasion, ooh, yes, it's very good. Oh, and then of course, after reading that heavy book, I had to pick up another David Sedaris, and I read Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim, and was so happy that I did. So let's see. The Case of the Left-Handed Lady, another Enola Holmes book. Eh. If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. Now, this was fine. It was talking about beauty standards in South Korea, but it was a novel, and the novel itself was fine. But the reason it was good is it kind of was going along with I read a couple other books that were nonfiction and it dealt with beauty standards in South Korea, and I was really happy I picked this one up just for that. Okay, let's see. We're getting somewhere. Ghosts of the Tsunami, Death and Life in Japan's Disaster Zone by Richard Lloyd Perry. And ooh, was that a sad book? Yes, 100%. Um, it was awful, but so important because I don't think I've read any other books that have talked about the tsunami in Japan. So, yeah, highly recommend that one. Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt. This was on my best nonfiction list. It is a memoir of Frank's life growing up very poor in Ireland, and it was so good. Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen, and this was super cute. If you want something a little fluffier, has a bit of a mystery, but it all comes together really cute. Yeah, that was fun. I read out loud The Case of the Bizarre Bouquets by Nancy Springer to my daughter, and it was fine. I was really getting tired of Enola Holmes by that point. And then we jumped into Flawless Lessons in Looks and Culture from the K Beauty Capital. And that is, that was so good. So good. It was really interesting. And I was so glad that I read that because it did lead me to read another one about South Korea that I'll talk about in a minute because it was so interesting. I loved that. I did read In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, and I really liked TJ Klune, and I really liked this book. But was it quite as good as The House in the Cerulean Sea or Under the Whispering Door? No, but that's fine. Oh my goodness. I read Squirrel Seeks Chipmunk by David Sedaris, and I always laugh at a David Sedaris book, but this one had me cackling. And I found out that it's a lot of people's least favorite David Sedaris book because he's not telling personal essays, he's telling kind of these fables through animals, but they were so funny. They were gross and funny and irreverent and just like I was cackling. I had so much fun with that book. Um, Louis Sachar wrote Holes. I read that out loud to my daughter. I love that book. Oh my heavens. It was such a fun read aloud. And if you haven't watched the movie with Sigourney Weaver and Shia LaBeouf, it's just a delight. And yeah, I had such a good time. Sign Here by Claudia Lux. I thought with the premise of this that it was going to be so much more fun than it was. And because it says darkly humorous, surprisingly poignant. It's about a guy who works in hell and he wants a big promotion and he just has to sign one more person soul away or whatever. And I thought it was going to be kind of funny, tongue in cheek, and it wasn't. And I hated it. I just hated this book. It was so bad. Okay. Finding Me by Viola Davis. Excellent, excellent memoir. 100% recommend. Let's see. Wow, this is going. Oh my goodness. Hugo. Yeah, we are on the same word. I didn't even notice from your last. I'll see you at church. Oh my gosh. Oh, I have a cold, so I cannot be held responsible for my brain not working today. Oh my gosh. Well, hey, thanks for joining. Okay, let's see. Back to books. We've got Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie. And this is fine. It was like a sci-fi book, and just don't know if I was quite as into it as I had hoped I would be into it, but sci-fi is a bit of a hit and a miss for me. So The Postcard by Anne Berest. Excellent, excellent read. It's fiction, but it reads so nonfiction-y. I really liked it. So read about that one. Ithaca by Claire North. I love that. If you want one of those Greek myth retellings, Ithaca is fantastic. Um, okay, we've got Heroes, Mortals, and Monsters, Quests and Adventures by Stephen Fry. And yeah, that one's also just amazing. Another Greek myth retelling, so that's fantastic. These Silent Woods by uh, Kimmy Cunningham Grant. It was really good. Kind of an interesting one. One of those like we run out to the woods to stay away from the rest of humanity and why and the secrets behind that and stuff. So I enjoyed that one. I Like You, Hospitality Under the Influence by Amy Sedaris. I was hoping for more David Sedaris, and it didn't quite make it, but it was fine. It was a lot more of a cookbook, I think, than I had been planning on. So maybe I just needed to have a physical copy and it would have been fine. The Tale of Despero by Kate DiCamillo. I read this out loud to my daughter, and it was fine. It was good. I enjoyed it. Let's see. Flowers of Fire, the inside story of South Korea's feminist movement and what it means for women's rights worldwide by uh, Howon Jung. And yeah, 5 stars. So fantastic. Everyone should read this to understand not only the feminist movement within South Korea, but the implications that has for women worldwide. And it was just fantastic. Tell Me Everything, The Story of a Private Investigation by Erica Krauss. And this is kind of her memoir as her time as a private investigator. And it was interesting, but maybe not perfect. I kind of got annoyed with her telling me, I can read people. I'm just really good at this. I don't have to try and I'm good at this. I'm like, stop telling me that. I don't know. See. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm alive. I'm making it. I read Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher, and this was, let's see, this was pretty good. Oh, live streams. Usually I can just pause and not say anything for a long period of time and then just cut it out of my video. So it's a new thing that I have to figure out. Which one of my AirPods is dying? Nobody knows. Let's see. Okay. We're continuing on. A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. And I don't remember it very well either. It's another one. Oh, yeah. This one was kind of giving you a very typical possessed child narrative, and I don't know about that. I just don't know. Oh yes, please read David Sedaris. It's so good. Okay. Strange Sally Diamond, Liz Nugent, excellent. Highly recommend. You should definitely read it. But it can be triggering. But it was kind of like heartwarming. How could it be heartwarming when it had such horrible, horrible subject matter? Going through her dark past was awful. But seeing Sally Diamond make friends and form a community was my favorite thing and adorable. Okay, Stiff, The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers by Mary Roach. Very interesting. Everybody likes this one. It's such a popular one. So yeah, if you want to know more about dead people, read Stiff. The Last Ranger by Peter Heller. It was fine. I don't remember much about it except a lot of descriptions of Yellowstone National Park, which I think was the goal, right? Okay. Entangled Life: How Fungi Make Our World, Change Our Minds, and Shape Our Futures by Merlin Sheldrake. Super interesting. Had moments of being kind of boring, but also had moments of being just fantastic. In Memoriam by Alice Wynne, also really good. World War II novel, but kind of shake it up a little, and I thought that was good. Trust by Hernan Diaz, 5-star, loved it. Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates is that perfect closed door mystery kind of thing. They all get trapped in a cabin because their bus breaks down, and one by one, everybody's getting murdered, and that's fun. So, not fun as in, yay, everyone's getting murdered, but the premise, the mystery of who could it be, and we all have to watch each other. It was fine. It was like a very, violent but perfectly contained kind of mystery book. Enjoyed it. The River We Remember by William Kent Kruger. I liked this one. I think I was kind of mad at some of the decisions of one of the main characters, and that I found to be kind of morally reprehensible. So that was annoying. Paradise Falls: The True Story of an Environmental Catastrophe by Keith O'Brien, 5 stars. Everybody should read it. Oh, I gotta move through these faster. I can't believe it's been 37 minutes. Okay, let's do this. We've got The Story of Beautiful Girl by Rachel Simon. I don't remember this very well. It talks about institutions. I remember little bits of it, but I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know if it quite was as good as I would have wanted. Let's see what else we've got. We've got Redwall. Oh, I read that out loud to my daughter. Hated it. It did not hold up. Ugh. Just was the most painful thing to read out loud. The Vanishing Act of Esme Lennox by Maggie O'Farrell. I didn't like this. I didn't like it at all. Let's see. Trail of the Lost, the relentless search to bring home the missing hikers of the Pacific Crest Trail. This was really interesting. I enjoyed this one a lot. And I think it was good. Yeah, if you like hiking and you want to know what it would take for somebody to find you if you got lost out on the trail, look into that one. Into Siberia, George Kennan's epic journey through the brutal frozen heart of Russia. You get by Gregory J. Wallens, and you get such a good story about not only the history of the Siberian exile system, but this man who really put aside pride in order to advocate for what he knew to be right. So that was awesome. The Porcelain Maker by Sarah Freely, and this was another World War II book. And it was fine. I don't remember it super well. It kind of ended up being like a 3-star for me. Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister was really interesting, kind of fun. It's once again that Groundhog Day-esque kind of thing where you have to just keep going back in time. The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman, I read out loud to my daughter, and I really liked the first one. I had a fun time reading it out loud. It's when I read the second and third one that it all went downhill. Never Whistle at Night, an Indigenous dark fiction anthology by Shane Hawk. Um, it was a really good short story collection. I'm surprised. It was really good. I liked it a lot. Kind of creepy stories, but all with kind of indigenous themes. It was really well done. I liked that one. The Myth of Normal Trauma, Illness, and Healing in a Toxic Culture by Gabor Mate. And I had some problems with it. Do I remember all my problems with it? No. But I don't think I loved all of that book. There were some issues with it. I'll have to go look at my review to figure out why, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping. Burnham Wood by Eleanor Catton. I just don't know if I really got the environmental thriller. Like, what kind of a genre is that? I don't know. It didn't quite work for me. Ugh. Okay, let's see. How to Say Babylon by Sophia Sinclair. 5 stars, highly recommend. Drowning by TJ Newman. I mean, it was fine. What was it? Everybody gets in a plane crash and they have to escape. Fun. Okay. Wayward by Amelia Hart. I liked this one. It was pretty good. It's not a 5 star read, stick with me forever, but I enjoyed it. The September House by Carissa Orlando, and this one was so good. Highly recommend. One of my favorite haunted house books. I really liked this one. Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. A surprising sneak up on you 5 star. I started out thinking I was gonna quit and ended up loving the whole thing. So 5 star, really profound. Cobalt Red, How the Blood of the Congo Powers Our Lives by Siddharth Kara, and this is also 5 stars. Everyone should read it to understand the exploitation that has happened and continues to happen in the Congo. Julia by Sandra Newman. This was fine. I just think I remember not liking 1984. So why did I think revisiting it through the eyes of Julia would be that much better? It just wasn't that great. I think it was maybe better than 1984, but I still didn't like it. Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. This one was good. It was fine. Probably nothing earth-shattering, but if you like kind of those quiet books talking about, oh, look at my past and the decisions I could have made, it was cute. The Subtle Knife, His Dark Materials Too by Philip Pullman. It just started to go downhill. I was a bit bummed out by that whole series. Okay, let's see. All the Little Bird Hearts by Victoria Lloyd Barlow, and I don't remember this one. I don't know how I don't remember this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I read it in August, and I've already forgotten this one. So that's how much I can recommend it. The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I liked this. It was interesting that this guy who all of his dreams changed the world. It was a really interesting classic science fiction novel. Taste My Life Through Food by Stanley Tucci, and this was fine. I think listening to the audiobook, all that I really remember from it is how much it bothered me that he kept saying culinary instead of culinary, and I'm sure it's an accepted pronunciation, but it just sounded weird in my ears. So, Garlic and Sapphires, The Secret Life of a Critic in Disguise. This was super fun. If you want a book, it's by Ruth Rachel, and she was a New York Times food critic and would dress up in different disguises to go to restaurants so she wouldn't be treated special. So, The Reading List by Sarah Nisha Adams. Super cute. It's a very fun one. Jeanette Winterson wrote Night Side of the River. Oh, it's a collection of ghost stories. Do I remember it super well? No, but sometimes short stories slip out of my head faster than a full book. So, The Three by Sarah Lotz. It's another book about a plane crash, and I didn't get it. Was it supposed to be creepy? I didn't get the explanations or what was trying to be said through it. I got nothing. Wordslet, A Feminist Guide to Taking Back the English Language by Amanda Montell, and I really liked this one. It was super interesting to look at the words that we use, and especially how women's words are used and or devalued. So that was interesting. Idaho, I gave this 5 stars by Emily Reskovich, and it was an interesting one. Um, it was kind of hard to read if you have young children. It has an awful, awful scene, but was really well written. I don't know. Lucky Turtle by Bill Rohrback. I hated this. Why are we romanticizing toxic and um, unhealthy relationships? No. Midnight at the Bright Ideas bookstore. This was fine. Wasn't anything that I remember super well. Shadow Divers by Robert Curson. 5 stars. 100% recommend. It was delightful. Pandora's Jar, Women in the Greek Myths by Natalie Haynes. Also 5 stars. Just so good to kind of go over some of those myths, how they've been told, and how they could be um, told in different ways, and the different interpretations you can get. The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride, also 5 stars, just really fun. The Kamogawa Food Detectives. Don't expect a ton from this, and you'll have a great time because it's just discovering where food came from, and the descriptions of food make you hungry, and it's kind of cutesy. And if you have low expectations going in, you're gonna have a really fun time. A Shadow in Moscow by Catherine Rie. And this one, I just don't remember. It was fine. I don't remember it super well. I read it in September, and I'm already kind of lost some of the memories of it. So how good could it have been, really? Or maybe I just was not with it in September. Who knows? Islands of Abandonment in the Posthuman Landscape by Cal Flynn. This was interesting, but written in a much less scientific sort of way, and a much more descriptive, immersive sort of way. And so I think you need to be aware of that going in. The Djinn Waits 100 Years. It was pretty good. Like, it was fine. I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. Nothing bad. Our Native Bees, North America's Endangered Pollinators and the Fight to Save Them by Paige Embry. Really excellent. Super interesting. I really liked that one. My Side of the River by Elizabeth Camarillo Gutierrez. And that is, what is it? So good. 4 out of 5 stars. It's a memoir. I think my only thing was, I think if she had given it maybe a couple more years before writing this book, she may have been able to give us a little bit more of what happened, like how she processed it, which would have been nice. King, A Life by Jonathan Eig. That is 5 stars. Super great. Highly recommend. Kakei by Vishnavi Patel. That is also 5 stars. And To End All Wars, A Story of Loyalty and Rebellion, 1914 through 1918, by Adam Hochschild, is also 5 stars. And then Indian Horse by Richard Wagamese, also 5 stars. Wow, my end of September, early October was just hit after hit. I read Inkheart out loud to my daughter. Why is that showing up as... Oh, I didn't read that this year. Why is that? I guess I added it then because I read it a few years ago and it didn't show up. Anyways, Flight Behavior, Barbara Kingsolver. I thought this was fine, but if you're going to start out a book with the main character planning on cheating on her husband, you are really going to have to do a lot of work to get me to like this person going forward. And I didn't think the book needed that high of odds against the main character. Evil Eye by Itaf Room, and I read another one by the same author, and I think you can read one. I think they kind of had too many similar themes. And The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman. I hated it. Wow, what a weird way to end that trilogy. I had to read that one out loud because my daughter wanted to know what happened, and I am so glad I'm not reading those out loud anymore. I have Underland, A Deep Time Journey by Robert Macfarlane, and that gets 2 stars. These books are not for me. Robert Macfarlane is not for me because I get so bored. I have no ability to have the patience for that. Okay. In the Garden of Beasts, Love, Terror, and an American Family in Hitler's Berlin by Eric Larson, 5 stars. You should definitely pick that one up. Okay. Wow, this goes on so long. I'm going to try to wrap this up quick. Let's see. Wellness by Nathan Hill. Yeah, super good. I think everyone should, well, not everyone. I think I highly recommend it. I think you would enjoy it. It is quite the thing. Let's see. Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. It was cute. It was sweet. 4 stars. It's fine. How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Did I have so much fun with this one? Yes. Do I recommend it? 100%. Symphony of Secrets by Brendan Slocum. Really liked it. It was good. I wouldn't say the best book that I read all year. It wasn't on my best of list, but I still really enjoyed it. Stolen by Anne-Hélène Lestadius. 5 star, super interesting kind of mystery, but also talking about Indigenous life and like the lack of resources that they have in Sweden. These Indigenous communities that herd the reindeer. The Uncommon Reader by Alan Bennett. I just didn't know what to expect with this. Like, what was this? It's short, it's sweet. If the Queen decided to take up reading, what would have happened? Okay, America Redux, Visual Stories from Our Dynamic History. That one was my bad. I got it on audiobook. And I think you need to see this one. It says Visual Stories. Why would I do this on audiobook? That was just my bad. Let's see, The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. It was not that great. Why did everybody like that one so much? I think it was kind of experimental and different and like switching between the perspectives, but one's more stream of consciousness and like changing up the styles. And it didn't work for me. And I just feel like the author, instead of confronting any of the difficult work of some of the like resolution that the characters needed to go through, just didn't. And I didn't like it. Let's see. Some People Need Killing, a memoir of murder in my country by Patricia Evangelista. 5 stars, so good. Everyone should read it, learn about the Philippines. Between Two Kingdoms, a memoir of life interrupted by Zuleika Jawad. And this one was also so good. Just learning about the cancer diagnosis she went through, all of the treatment, and then trying to build a life after. The Feather Thief, Beauty Obsession, and the Natural History Heist of the Century by Kirk W. Johnson. 5 stars, so good. Run Toward the Danger, Confrontations with a Body of Memory by Sarah Polley. Also really good, but I didn't know who Sarah Polley was, and she is an actor, and maybe I would have connected maybe a little more if I'd known who she was, but it still was very interesting, even if I didn't. The Center by Aisha Manazir Siddiqui, and this one just, what a disappointment because it had such an interesting premise and really had me excited about it, and then just completely crashed and burned toward the end. Was so bugged. Exercised Why Something We Never Evolved to Do is Healthy and Rewarding by Daniel E. Lieberman, and this was fine. I think it just got into some territory that I don't know if it was super helpful. I really got to the end of the book thinking, well, I just never want to exercise again because you told me I had to do it too many times. While You Were Out, An Intimate Family Portrait of Mental Illness in an Era of Silence by Meg Kissinger. So good. Oh, what a personal memoir, but also one that she has studied and researched and reported on throughout her life. Night Watching by Tracy Sierra. Pretty good. I mean, if you want that really, really suspenseful kind of book, really good. Cultish, The Language of Fanaticism by Amanda Montell. Really interesting. I had a great time with that. And I also read the other book, Word Slut, those two by her this year. And I was really glad I did. I enjoyed them a lot. Stupid cold. Okay. Sabriel, A Porson, #1 by Garth Nix. I loved this. I'm so glad I'm reading these out loud. Sometimes I just find gems to read out loud to my daughter, and this was one of them, and it really held up from what I remember as a kid. Built from the Fire, the epic story of Tulsa's Greenwood District, America's Black Wall Street by Victor Luckerson. How did this not end up on my list of best reads from last year? This one was supposed to be in there. I must have... I can't get everything right. This one was one of the best reads that I read the last year. It should have been in my best nonfiction from 2024, and it wasn't, so read this. The Storm We Made by Vanessa Chan. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was fine. Let's see. We've got Anita de Monte Last by Cochito Gonzalez, and I really enjoyed that. And thought it was so good until I found out that it was based on a real person. And why did the author not actually acknowledge that in the book? Wasn't the whole book talking about how people need the credit where credit is due and people need to be recognized and whatever else and not forgotten? And then the author herself kind of erased who the book was based on by not telling us. I don't know. It felt off. Glorious Exploits by Ferdia Lennon. I just never really connected with this. Good Material by Dolly Alderton. Really liked it. Surprised. Looking at the premise, I wasn't sure I was going to like it. Ended up really enjoying it. Doppelganger, A Trip into the Mirror World by Naomi Klein. Really good. Very interesting. A Darker Shade of Magic by Victoria Schwab. This and the whole trilogy, so fun. I had a great time reading them, so glad I picked those up. The Sisters Brothers by Patrick DeWitt. It was good. Kind of violent. I don't really know where I land on it. I'm not really a Western person, but it was a good one for a Western. Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. I really liked that as a sequel. James by Percival Everett. Such a great take on Huckleberry Finn. Highly recommend. The Demon of Unrest, A Saga of Hubris, Heartbreak, and Heroism at the Dawn of the Civil War by Eric Larson. Also 5 stars, highly recommend. Hench by Natalie Zeno Walshutz. 5 stars. I loved this. It was such a great take on the superhero, supervillain kind of story. It was just a lot of fun, and I'm excited for there to be a sequel. So then I read the other 2 in the Shades of Magic trilogy and really enjoyed those. I've got The Husbands, which had an interesting premise, but I feel like just missed out on some of the key points that I feel like she should have learned throughout the book, and it annoyed me. I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. What was this? The author thought they were so clever. Lyrial, of course, the number 2 by Garth Nix. Finished reading that out loud. Had such a good time. I'm having a great time, and I'm on the last one right now, reading it out loud to my daughter. The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon, and that is also 5 stars. So good. So good learning about a midwife in the late 1700s in the early United States. Daniel Mason in Northwoods. It was a really good book. Had a lot of interesting things. Had a lot of weird things in it too. It wouldn't be my perfect book, but it definitely was an interesting read. And then 7 Fallen Feathers, Racism, Death, and Hard Truths in a Northern City by Tanya Talaga. And this was so good, looking at the lives of these children that died and why the system has failed them. And so that was really interesting and tragic. And we have The Collective Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brammer, and I enjoyed this one. It was sweet. It's all about her work as, it's a fictional book about a woman who is working as a death doula, and I really enjoyed that. And the last book that I read of the year was Barron's Money, Power, and the Corruption of America's Food Industry by Austin Frerick. And that was awesome. So good. Okay, that's it. I made it to an hour. Oh my gosh. Sorry you sat through this, if you sat through this. So I'm just trying out the live video. Really, this is a bit of a test. So if you have any ideas on, if you have any thoughts on if I should do more live videos and how, because I don't dislike this. I just don't know really how to use this, platform, right? I'm very used to making my videos and editing them down into little packaged reviews that I feel good about. And so this has been fun to try something a little different. Um, I am gonna go, I don't know, take a Tylenol and take a nap. Ugh, stupid cold. Um, and I will be back with a book wrap up soon. Um, oh, Steve says, yeah, do more lives. Okay, I'll have to try to do some. They're much more casual and it's less work for me because I don't have to sit there and edit them down. But um I also have less control over what comes out of my mouth. And so I stumble over words a lot. So, anyways, thanks for being here. I will see you all sometime soon um, on the next video that I come out with. Goodbye.